Hey guys, thanks for joining me here today. So I've been working on the Air Venturi Avengers moderator. Just want to make a few changes to it just to see if I could be able to help improve the acoustics in this. Started getting down to the nitty-gritty just to make sure that when I do redo the profile that I do get the right measurements inside of here. This is currently about 8 millimeters in diameter, and I was wanting to check on the pellets that I have just to make sure that they are decently close, but not too close, but not too far apart that it would cause any kind of clipping because of the pellets. Now, I did purchase some slugs for the 22. I've never shot slugs before. I've seen people shoot them. I'd love to see how accurate they are, but at the same time, I do want to make sure that that size is right. But as I was looking at the diameter of that, figuring out what the size of these were, you know, I was kind of worried that these wouldn't be the right size just because Javelin created two different calibers for this pellet. Or, not for this pellet, but for this little slug. It has a caliber of .217, but they also have a caliber of .218. I really don't know what the difference between those two are. I assume that different barrels need to, you know, close that gap, you know, keep that right snug fit, so that way you're not losing any kind of pressure. But again, I don't want this to be too tight that I'm having to slam it inside of the rifle, causing damage to the rifle and or to the barrel, and not having that proper fit. So I went with a smaller size. So are these pellets, these particular ones here are with FX air guns, and these Javelins, obviously a different company, I wanted to make sure that they were relatively close, because I know these work. I have no problem with these. I have no idea about these. So well, let's go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll see exactly how consistent these are and how consistent these are, because that is important to know if these will fit my rifle. Let's take a look. Now, the Patriot Slugs that we're looking at, I was introduced to these by AirTech Hunting. They are actually based out of Africa, and they do a lot of pest control and such. And I've been watching their videos for some time. Got me really interested. Saw that they made these slugs, and that these slugs were effective and extremely accurate, up to like 200 yards, hitting pigeons and starlings at 200 yards accurately. So I went ahead and bought some of these, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, these particular slugs can be found at your local airgun dealer, but I purchased these particular ones here with Utah Air Guns. Now, they have two different styles, or two different generations. So they have the Gen 2, and then they have the Gen 1 right here. Now, we purchased the 22 option. And as you can see here from this list, they have the .217 and .218 in those weight sizes. You get 200 slugs for $20 to about $26, but that part doesn't really matter. But what will matter is the diameter of these pellets, whether or not they will fit in my rifle. So we do have this calibrated here at 0. We'll go ahead and take a few samples of this. Now, I did note that on some of the pellets here on the skirt, that the skirt is bigger than here at the dome. So we'll go ahead and measure this. So I'm just measuring a little shy of 2.17. Go ahead and do that in a couple spots just to make sure we get an average diameter, so roughly about 2. Okay, there we go. That's about what I was getting before, so sorry about that. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get these measured all around. That one looks about right. Looks like it is doing okay so far. 5, 6, 1, 6. I've never had a problem with the FX pellets, so I'm not too worried about anything around 2.6. 2.7 was where I was kind of thinking it might be too big, but 2.8, so I barely roll that, and there's just a little bit of play in here. 2.6, 2.15, kind of snug. So we kind of see it vary just a tiny bit, so I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference, just because we're in the thousandths. So 2.15, 2.6. So FX seems to be doing okay. 2.15, 1.6. No, that was my mistake. 1.6. So the domes seem to be doing fairly well with their consistency. 2.15, 2.16. I think I missed on that one. So those are doing pretty good. So let's go ahead and take a look at the slugs. Grab a handful here, move those out of the way. Take the biggest part. 2.165. Okay, we're about 19 right there. 19, 18. That was a little big. 165, 17. So that one's pretty true to what their measurements say. 16, 17, 17. Go ahead and do a few more. 17. Okay, I'm still on 0. Good. 2.165. 2.8. So far, I'm liking the consistency in these. They are really dang close to what they preach. We'll do one last one. 6.5, 6. See, those are pretty dang true. Now, if we were to go ahead and change this from inches, which is what it was measured in, that's about 5.5 millimeters, more or less. The space we are working with here is roughly about 8 millimeters. Now, if we want to carefully consider the Donny Fl moderator attachment for the Avenger as well as for the Umerix Origin, we definitely want to see exactly what kind of limits or tolerances that they give us for the barrel. So here it is currently reflecting 11.23 millimeters for it to connect to your barrel. Now on the opposite end, or attached to the moderator, we have roughly about 9 millimeters. 9.1. So having a tolerance of 8 millimeters, if they're saying that 9 millimeters is okay, 8 millimeters may be cutting a little bit close, but should we consider making it smaller or raising up to 9? Or possibly just leaving it at the 8 millimeters that it is set at? Decisions, decisions, decisions. But not to give out any kind of spoilers, I did buy some bigger pellets. and the 22 slugs. These are 30 cal slugs. This is pretty big. Let's take a look. That's the 22. That's the 30 cal. So the 22 is that 5.5 right there, that little line in the middle. Yeah, that thing's 8 millimeters. That's a really big slug. So what we see here is the 2.1 with the change in the internal baffling right there. Whereas the first generation did not have this right here. And so the acoustics wasn't getting trapped in there as much as the other one was. But we'll go ahead and be keeping this portion right here. I'll just be changing the lower parts. So with that being the case, this moderator is currently set at those same 8 millimeters. So this is definitely gonna need an upgrade. We are going to be finishing up this 22 caliber moderator. And once we get that completed, we're gonna go ahead and do some testing with that. But again, I will be following up with this and finishing it in the 30 caliber, so that way we can go ahead and get that tested. Now I am going to be purchasing a 0 dB moderator. Don't know which one exactly at this point that I'm going to use, but we're going to go ahead and get this thing field tested, and then we're going to go ahead and get one of those purchased and put them head to head. Then we'll go ahead and get that 30 cal printed and tested as well, and hopefully we can go ahead and get a good comparison with a 30 caliber one, just to see if it does make a difference at all. So if you want to go ahead and be kept up to date, go ahead and like and subscribe to be kept in the loop. Thanks for watching.